Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Rika and this is Rika Life. So this is another WIP and yarn chat. So I invite you to grab a beverage of your choice, grab your current WIP and settle in. We're gonna just chat. I'm gonna work on a WIP and we will pass the time together. Okay, so I am giving you two guesses on what I'm making. It's a baby blanket. Two guesses because I'm always making baby blankets. Okay, so this is a moss stitch in the square, a moss stitch square baby blanket that I'm making. And I am using, so let me just take out my yarn. So I am using a K or 6.5 millimeter Susan Bates hook. That is what I'm using. And the two colors, so I'm using a white, and the white is a, where'd it go? The white color is actually a cotton merino wool blend. It's called Cantata by Cascade Yarns. It is 218 yards, 100 grams, recommends a 5.5 millimeter hook. I am using a bigger hook. So I am mixing this yarn with my Karen Blossom cakes. So forgive me, I can't remember the name of this colorway, but this is what I had left over from other projects. And then I have this much of the white left. I just balled them up by hand. And then I have another Karen Blossom cake to finish. This is the color Passion Fruit. That's what it looks like. It's very pretty. So I will be getting to that hopefully today. I have to finish working on the white color, and then I will move on to the Passion Fruit. And yeah, I'm just doing a moss stitch in the square. So I'm just going to get myself set up here and get started on my WIP. So this actually, I'm doing a little bit of cheating because this is actually one of my car projects. But I got a chance to work on it yesterday and today in the car, and then I was just missing it. I don't know, it's something about the moss stitch is very meditative, I feel. So I like doing it. So I just pulled out my car WIPs bag and brought it inside. I did it for a couple minutes this morning before my walk, and then now I was like, how about I just work on this for the video? So that is what I'm working on. I made a trip to Walmart the other day, and I went to the yarn section. The selection was okay. It wasn't very exciting. I mean, they had a lot of different yarns, some colors. Like I'd say the yarn they had the most colors of were the Lion Brand Mandala cakes and the Lion Brand Mandala ombre cakes. They had a good excuse me, they had a good variety. But otherwise, it wasn't that exciting. Plus, I just saw a video by Crystal over at Bag O' Day Crochet, and she mentioned that things in her yarn aisle were actually on clearance. I saw no stickers at my Walmart, so I don't know, maybe they were on clearance. There was a coral color yarn by Pioneer Women, that brand, and I was thinking of purchasing it. They had 3 balls. I was very close to purchasing it. It was a DK weight yarn, and I think it was like at least 350 yards per ball. And somehow the color coral is really catching my attention right now. It's just making me very happy. So I was thinking of buying that. But evidently, as per Crystal's video, it's on sale for $3 a ball. So I might be buying it. I'm not sure. I've also used coral in like a big twist coral I have used before. I don't know if it's called coral, but you know what I mean, that kind of shade of red. So anyways, so I didn't pick that up from Walmart, but I did buy two things. So I found these really cute embroidery scissors. They're called stork scissors because they look like a stork. These are really sharp scissors, so I need to keep these carefully, but they work really well. They just like, that's it. It's done. You don't have to press, nothing. They're really good scissors. So these were they were with the yarn things, but they were called embroidery scissors, and that's what they look like, again, in case you're interested. They were about $5. I purchased this and I'm keeping this. I made one other purchase, and that was I saw a set of bamboo hooks by Line Brand in the weights G, H, and I, which I use a lot of, those weight yarns and those weight hooks. So I thought, let me bring it home and try it out. Well, I pulled one out. I think it was the I, and I pulled out some of my yarn. And I couldn't even make a stitch because the bamboo or the wood was not sanded down. So there were like splinters coming out of the wood. And so my yarn was getting caught on there. So I couldn't even make, I'm not joking, I couldn't even make one stitch. So I put it back in the package and I went and returned it. That also was around $5-6. And I was getting really excited. I saw that they had more sizes online, and I was just getting really excited that, ooh, I'm trying out some new hooks. I'm being adventurous like you're all telling me to be. And it didn't work out. So I think that was just a hook fail. I just tried one of the hooks. I was like so turned off by the fact that it wasn't sanded down and it was all splitty and it was catching on my yarn. So I just gave up and I returned it. So those are the two things I bought for myself. Then I bought my kids some summer clothes. It's getting warm here and they keep growing, you know, they just keep growing and they need new clothes. And so I got them some things, and yeah, I didn't get much for myself. I wanted to look for pants for myself, but maybe next time. You know how it gets when you go to the store and it just gets overwhelming. So something about pant shopping. I don't like pant shopping, but I think I need a couple new pants, so I'll have to go. Anyways, I digress. What is happening right now? So I want to know from all of you, what are you making this week? Let me know in the comments. Are you making wearables? Are you making blankets? Are you making amigurumi? Are you doing, some other form of crochet? Are you doing Tunisian crochet, tapestry crochet, mosaic crochet? What kinds of things are you doing? Are you using thread? Are you using bulky yarn to make plushies? What are you doing? I would love to know. I think it's just so beautiful that yarn and crocheting and knitting and all the crafts associated, weaving, macrame, all these things are just so rich and so there's so much variety, there's so much variety, and the possibilities are endless. That's basically what I'm trying to say, is you can do so much with yarn. When I was at Walmart, I actually I had seen a project online that I wanted to try and copy, which was to get initials of my kids' names and then wrap yarn around them. So I found their initials at Walmart. I brought that home, and that will be one of my projects. So I will be working on that. I don't know when. I don't even know what glue to use. I thought maybe using a hot glue gun would be a better idea, but I don't think I have one. So anyways, I will show you that when I finally do it, but that's something that I plan to work on. Anyways, let me know what you're working on this week. And speaking of baby blankets, as I'm making a baby blanket, I actually got an order for a baby blanket. So I have started that. You may have seen my post about it. I am using Bernat Softy Baby, I think that's what it's called, in the color Soft Lilac. and I am making a baby blanket for a friend. It's really funny because I messaged her saying, hey, how are you doing? When are you due again? Do you know if you're having a boy or a girl? And can you tell me what colors you like? Because I'd love to make you something. And she replied saying, oh, it's funny you messaged because I was just going to message you and I wanted to ask and I wanted to buy a blanket from you. And I was like, oh, it was so nice. So I am making a blanket for her now and I'm going to get paid to do it. So I went out to Joanne and I bought the color that she wanted. She sent me a couple of patterns. And so I'm using a pattern from Daisy Farm Crafts. I think it's called the Berry Blossom Blanket. I have made blankets by Daisy Farm Crafts before and their patterns are lovely. So I'm really enjoying making that. I've just made a start on it, but I hope to finish the blanket fairly quickly. I'm going to need to devote some time this week to that. So I need to remember to work on that amongst my many other WIPs. If you remember, I told you that I had 16 WIPs and I got down to 3 WIPs and now I'm back up to like 7 or 8 because I started a whole bunch of projects, this being one of them. Though this project I kind of think of as like a scrap project because I'm trying to finish up my Karen Blossom cakes and this white wool blend that I have. So I kind of considered this one, because it's a card project. I don't really count it as one of my WIPs, but I am. So I think I'm at 7 or 8 WIPs right now. And these ones I really enjoy because I can just sit and work on this. Like it doesn't take any effort for me. I don't need to look up the pattern. I can just sit down and like whip it out. So that's why I like projects like these. Okay. There's still quite a bit of yarn here. Okay, so I will be sharing in my next video this week a couple of finished objects that I have. One is a shawl and one is a baby blanket, both of which I love so much that I started another shawl with that same pattern and another baby blanket with the same pattern. So now I'll have 2 each. The problem with the baby blanket is that I just started working on it without looking back at the pattern. And so it's supposed to be a square, but my sides are all wonky. My sides I've added and I've increased and decreased and I'm not supposed to. So my sides are not straight at all, but that's okay. I'm just going to keep that baby blanket. I don't know. I don't even know if it's good enough to donate just because the sides are not straight. So I don't feel nice donating something that's not, perfect. But I am going to keep it because I really enjoyed making it. And yeah, I don't want to keep you in suspense, but that blanket is called the jelly bean blanket. You can find a tutorial for that on YouTube. And it was such a wonderful, wonderful project. It felt like how this project feels, how this moss stitch feels. It felt relaxing like this, and I used an ice cream yarn, and that felt so good. So I am using ice cream yarn for that, and then for the shawl, which is a moss stitch shawl, I'm using a Line Brand Mandala cake. I think it's Line Brand Mandala baby cake. So those are kind of like ongoing projects. Those are not projects that need to be done like right away, but they're just kind of in between projects that, okay, I'm sitting down, I have 10-15 minutes and I can just work on it. My family and friends are always commenting and saying like, oh my gosh, you have 2 young children. How do you find time to crochet? And, I just tell them like, it's my therapy and I just make time. I find time. I like even today while my son was eating breakfast, I was crocheting. And he's been in daycare now for a couple of months, but I've been crocheting for almost 10 years. So my daughter's 8. So for 8 years, I have been crocheting. while being a mom, and it's not something I want to give up, it's something I want to continue to do. I feel like I owe it to myself to stay creative, to give myself this creative space and to make time for it because I love doing it. I absolutely love doing it. It makes my life better. It makes me happier. It makes me more patient, hopefully. But I'm going to keep doing it. Whatever life brings, whatever phases I go through, however it is, serving in all the other roles that I do serve, I am also a crocheter. I am also a designer. I am also an artist. I am also a creative. And so all of those parts of me need to see the light of day. They cannot lurk behind in the shadows waiting for their time of day. I just don't believe in that. I don't believe in putting off your dreams for another day. I really believe that we need to seize the day and we need to do what makes us happy. And if crocheting for 2 hours a day will make you a better person, make you a happier person, then I say go for it. I mean, last night it was almost 9 o'clock or 9:15 before I could sit down and crochet. I was trying to get my kids to bed. Then I was finishing my steps. I'm trying to walk 10,000 steps a day. By the time I sat down to crochet, I was like, I need some time. Like everyone was asleep and I was like, this is my time. This is crochet time. So I sat down and I crocheted and I sat there for an hour and I worked on my project and it felt so amazing. I just loved doing it. I loved spending that time on something that I love without any distractions, without anyone needing me, without having to get up and attend to anything. So I really cherish that time. I know it made me a little bit tired today, but I really do cherish the time that I get to crochet. I think it's a privilege and I don't take it lightly. I really, really enjoy it and I'm so grateful, so blessed. I'm going to tell you what project I was working on at night and why I couldn't put it down. I am making a hexi cardi for myself. Hopefully it's for myself. I don't know. I make things and then I end up giving them away or I end up gifting them. But I've been trying this on for myself. So I finished the hexagon cardigan part of it. And then last night I was working on extending it and making it longer from the bottom. This morning, while my son was eating breakfast, I was working on creating a trim for it, like a border, which I finished before I sent him to school. And now that I did that trim, now I'm looking at the sleeves and I'm thinking of making cuffs. So I shared in a Hexagon cardigan group my picture from last night and I got some nice suggestions on some tutorials to watch to make a cuff for the sleeves. So I need to go on YouTube and watch, I think the name they said was Craft and a Cuppa, Cuppa. So I'm going to go on there and find that tutorial on how to do a hexagon cardigan cuff for the sleeve. And I'm going to try and do it. I'm kind of nervous. I mean, I'm very nervous. I don't want to mess it up, especially because I don't know if I'm keeping this or giving it away. But I'm going to watch the tutorial and I'm going to see if it makes any sense to me. And then I'm going to try and do the cuff sleeves. And hopefully I can share that project this week with you. I'm not sure how long it will take me to do those sleeves. And then of course I have a million ends to work away, to weave in. But I'm very, very happy with that project so far. For that, I'm using a Line Brand Mandala bonus bundle, which is their huge cakes, which are over 1,000 yards of yarn in the color Giant. and the giant color is almost like a rainbow type color. So I had bought 2 cakes of that. One is completely finished and I'm working on the second one. I won't need that much yarn, I don't think so, but you do definitely need more than 1 cake for the size of project that I'm making. In terms of sizing, I would say that I am making a large to an extra large. This time around with the Hexagon cardigan in the back, I made 4 extra rows on each side and then joined it in the back just to give it some space around my chest area. So in the back, I made the 2 panels, and then in the middle I made 4 rows on this side, 4 rows on that side, and then I joined them. And then I was working around the bottom last night, and then I made a trim going all the way around the collar and down. And now I'm going to be working on the cuffs. So that will be something hopefully I can get some time to work on this week and finish it, because I already put it in my finished items pile for April. And as you know, April is pretty much done. So I need to work on that. And then I will be, of course, sharing it with you. I would love to share that with you. If you're all sick of seeing my Hexagon cardigans, just let me know. I'm not sick of making them yet. I mean, maybe now. I just wanted to make one for myself. And then I'm okay with like revisiting it sometime in the future. I don't need to make 10 more. Like this is my 5th or 6th one that I'm making. So I'm pretty okay with taking a break from it. But yeah, that raglan top that I made, that was the gradient, the red going into orange, blue going into green, going into orange and red. That top that I shared in my anniversary video, that top, I would love to make more like that. And I do have some more of that yarn, but I don't want to make the exact same top. So yeah, I don't have that much. I mean, I do have some of those thinner yarns hanging around, those 1 and 2 weights, but I would love to make another raglan top. I do have 2 more cakes, so I guess I could just remake that same one, but I don't know how exciting that would be now because I've already done it once. So, and I kind of seek novelty, as you may know. I'm always hopping from one project to another, and it's so funny. I shared my video of the donations I made for the cancer patients. If you haven't seen that, you can go back and look at that. There's also one for the baby blankets that I donated. And I was sitting at the couch crocheting my hexi cardi, and I had some of those hats beside me. One of them was a WIP. I was still working on it, and my hubby goes, "I thought you were making the hats." And I was like, "I am." And he's like, "So make the hat." And I was like, "I am." He's like, "No, you're not working on the hat right now." I was like, "Oh my God," like thinking in my mind, like, stay out of this. The problem is I was making those divine hats, and there's like a way that I had to sit and do the crocheting for the divine hat that I feel like my hands were, because I made like 9 hats, my hands were just like stuck in that position. So I literally sat there and I was like flicking my hands and like rotating my wrists and like gearing myself up, because I was like, this is going to take some, your posture gets stuck in that one position. I was like, this is going to take some effort. I can't just sit and pump out these hats, though I did. But luckily, I didn't have any pain. I mean, I did have some soreness, but not pain. So I was lucky with that. That's kind of why I keep changing up what project I'm working on, just to keep my hands guessing. And I've mentioned before that I try to stick with similar weight yarn. So I would not go from working on a 1 weight project to a super bulky project right away, because I'm trying to like give my hands some sense of consistency Like right now I'm using a K hook, 6.5 millimeter. I wouldn't go and pick up like an F hook right now and try and do something, because my hands are used to this tension right now, the way I'm holding the yarn, the tightness or looseness of how I'm holding it. So I try to be very mindful of that, and that's something like I'm consciously doing. And I always tell myself, don't jump so far between projects that you hurt yourself. So far it's been working for me. I do have my burlap blanket yarn blanket that I'm working on for my niece, and I am on skein 5 of 6, finally, ball 5 of 6. I just found out that my brother is visiting, and so not visiting me, my brother's visiting my niece. And so if I had known before, I would have rushed and finished that project so I could ship it to him and he could take it to Canada. But that did not happen because I just found out that he's going. So I told him, I'm like, please let me know next time you're visiting so I can ship it to you and you can take it for me. I think it just costs a lot to ship to Canada. That's why I'm saying I'd rather just ship it to him. He's in the States. And then look at these scissors. They're so good. Got to be careful where you're cutting it because these scissors are so good. Okay. Yeah. So I am still working on that blanket, but again, I'm using like an M hook, I think. And so that one is a totally different tension. So for that especially, I don't get that much chance to work on that project, though I am in that room sometimes to work out, but that's not my crocheting time. So I need to work on that. I could probably finish that in a week or two, I want to say, if I diligently just like stopped doing everything else and went to that room and sat down and worked on that blanket. It's all half double crochets with the M hook. I could finish it in a week or two, but I've not been dedicating time to it because there are all these other fun projects that I want to work on, like the moss stitch. I was actually looking last night. I saw a post of people using burlap blanket yarn, and they were asking how to make a blanket out of it that's not too heavy. So evidently doing the moss stitch for that kind of blanket makes it super heavy. I'm just doing half double crochets. I saw somebody does the moss stitch with half double crochets, and I guess they do half double crochet, chain one, half double crochet. And so that's an idea, but mine is all half double crochets. So I enjoy that pattern because it's like, again, mindless, but I just need to be in that space. And I keep projects all over the house. Okay, not all over, but in this room, by my one couch, and then by my other couch. So basically three spaces. And so it just depends where I'm sitting, and that kind of determines what project I'm working on. So I'm so happy I'm getting to spend time on this, and I'm finally on the last ball. This is quite a bit of yarn though, so I don't know if I'll get through it all while we're talking here today, but I wanted to say thank you to all of you for all of your comments. You're all so kind and gracious, and I'm so happy that these WIP and yarn chat videos are being received well and that you're enjoying spending this time with me. I really love spending this time with you. I feel like it's such precious time, but we get to spend it together. I'm recording now. You get to see it in the future. It's like time travel. It's like reading a book, That's what it is. The writer writes and then you read it on your own time, and you get a certain message from it and you go on your way, So same thing here is that we're all going about our day, but we get to spend this time together. I get to crochet and chat with you, and then get to read all your lovely comments, and it's been such a joy. If you haven't seen one of my videos in a while, or you haven't clicked on them last week, I actually had 3 videos. So last week I had a WIP and yarn chat like the one we're doing right now. Then I had a video where I shared the mandalas that I made. I think I shared 5 projects, and then I shared my own mandala that I designed. And that was one that I have a full tutorial for on YouTube and a paid pattern on Ravelry for that. So that was one of my videos. And what was the third video? I had 3 videos. Trying to remember now. Oh, I can't even remember what the third one was. Anyways, there were 3 videos last week, which I usually have 2 videos per week, but last week I had 3. This week I may also have 3. Let's see how things go, how much crochet time I get. I'm trying to stay ahead of everything. I'm trying to stay ahead of like doctor's appointments and things now that I have time in the day. So I'm trying to just schedule things and, go to the dentist and go for a mammogram, which is so important. So all those things are scheduled. And then, of course, we're already almost in May. And for us here in Texas, school ends in May. So it'll be summertime soon. And then all this crochet time that I have so lovingly kept for myself will likely go out the window. So that'll be another adjustment. I'm kind of like, that's how life is, right? It just keeps changing. You get used to one thing and then something else comes along, shakes everything up, and then you got to readjust. Sometimes I wish life would just stay stagnant, but it doesn't. Just like a river or a lake or any water of body, life keeps changing, life keeps evolving, life keeps moving, and you just got to keep going. So it's funny, I hadn't even thought of it before recording this video that summer is almost here, summer break, and so I'll have to figure out some sort of schedule whereby I can still get in my crocheting time with all of you and still play the other roles that I have to play as mommy. Yeah. So that'll be fun. That'll be another adjustment. I would love to take some trips this summer, travel a little bit, not too far, but have some sort of travel plans. So let's see what we can figure out. Then I'll be thinking about what projects to take with me, what I can crochet with me. I'm always thinking of that. As soon as I think of a trip or a weekend away or anything, I'm always like, oh, what can I take in the car with me? What could I take if I went on a plane with me? Where can I take my hooks? Which hook size should I use? Should I pick projects that only use an H hook? And it was so funny. One of you commented last week that you lost your H hook. And I was like, oh my God, no. I have so many H hooks now. I want to say I have like 3 or 4. And luckily, I think I have not lost a crochet hook yet. Can you believe that? That's how like organized I am. And I just keep my hooks like, now I've started putting them in project bags, but I know where all my hooks are. I know where my knitting needles are. Like I know where the stuff is because I've spent the time to keep reorganizing all my yarn. So I know where things are, but I don't think I've lost a hook yet. And maybe I have, who knows? I don't think I have, not to my knowledge. But yeah. I don't know if any of you use stitch markers. I just wanted to mention that I do use them. The baby blanket that I'm making for a commission right now, I am using stitch markers because I need to know where the beginning and the end of the row is. I don't want to take chances and eyeball it. So I am using stitch markers. So there's so many different types of stitch markers. I just like the regular plastic ones that you can close and open. They're kind of like safety pins, but they're stitch markers. I really love those ones because I want it to be secure. I don't want it to move. Especially when I'm making something like a wearable. I use the stitch markers to mark where I have to crochet 2 things together. And so I need it. Yeah. I was going to mention something about amigurumi, and that was that I have made a few things in the past, but I haven't made anything recently. The most recent amigurumi I made was these, they're called the Frontline Hero Bears. And you can see those on my Ravelry page. I've made them on my projects page. I've made those 2 times now. And I think, yeah, so I think the first time around I made 1 bear. And the second time around I actually made 2 bears at the same time. So I kept constructing them bit by bit together. So I sent those to the hospital with my husband. So they are there in the department, in the cancer department. And that's just like a nod to the people who work there, because the Frontline Hero Bear is wearing scrubs. It's so cute. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely check it out. It's on Ravelry. There's a whole pattern. I cannot remember now who it's by, but it's like a 6-7 page tutorial. It's free, but you could definitely make your own bear. And it's just so nice for anyone working in healthcare. It's really just a nod to them and to appreciate the efforts that they put day in, day out. So I like making those. I actually used to also make crocheted ribbons for the cancer department. And I used to make those out of Big Twist Value yarn. I think the color was like soft pink or something. So they looked more like the breast cancer ribbons, the pink ones. So I used to make those before. I haven't made those in a few years now. I stopped. I don't know. I didn't know if those would be more well received or needed, or were hats better. So now I just make the hats. And this time I actually donated hats. I donated scarves and shawls. So you could see all of those in my video from last week. Oh, that was my 3rd video from last week. Okay, so I had a video where I did a WIP and yarn chat. Then I did a video where I shared the donations I made for the cancer patients. And my 3rd video was showing the mandalas that I made. And I also shared my own mandala that I designed. So yes, those were the 3 videos from last week. I just had like my brain sometimes slows down, so I can't figure out what I'm trying to say. But yeah, those were the 3 videos. And I hope you're enjoying watching 2 videos a week. I feel like this is working for me so far. I really love doing this segment, which is me talking and us just crocheting together. I really like this part. Though I don't have my beverage, I already had some water. I drink a lot of water in the day, but I don't sip it. So I get thirsty and I go drink like half to 3/4 of my bottle. Then I'll refill it and I'll come back. So I usually get my water in between 4 to 5 different times and of drinking the water, and then I'm done for the day. Yeah. I've also started taking some fiber, and I feel like that's helping my tummy. So I'm going to continue doing that. Sorry, I'm getting off topic, off of crocheting. But yeah, I have 7 or 8 WIPs. I am excited to work on all of them. I'm excited by all the progress I've made just now. I haven't been counting how many rows I'm at, but I can show you how much yarn is left. I didn't, unfortunately, finish the white yarn, which I wanted to do in today's video, but the video is already close to the 40-minute mark, so I'm not going to keep you much longer, but I'm going to show you how far I did get. So this is how much is left, and this is what my project looks like. So I did very well. It's making a nice border to this. And then, as I mentioned, this will be the next color. So this color will be up here. So after I finish the white, the rest of the project will be in this color, a square. And this is, again, a baby blanket that I may donate, or I don't know, I may sell. Let me know if you have any thoughts about Etsy. Right now I have some of my items up on a Shopify store that I made, but I realized that that's not as easily, it's not as visible because it's like a custom site for my business. So let me know, what are your thoughts on Etsy? I would really like to know from you what you think of Etsy and if it's worthwhile. For my crochet patterns, I've been posting them on Ravelry, which everything's linked down below. So my patterns are there. I do know people sell crochet patterns on Etsy as well, so that would be another avenue to sell them. But I'd have patterns, and then I do have some finished items, which I have for sale. But I would love to know from you, what do you think about Etsy? Please give me your feedback if you have any feedback. If not, that's totally fine. And yeah, I wanted to thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I really enjoyed our yarn chat, and thank you for being here with me. I hope you have a wonderful crochetful day, and I'll see you again soon.